Have you ever been right in the middle of washing your hair, but then you just stop? You stand completely motionless for 11 straight minutes, realizing you have just flawlessly rehearsed a sharp and articulate argument with someone who does not even know they upset you yet. Or maybe you are driving to work, and out of nowhere, you deliver the absolute most razor-sharp comeback to a comment your manager made 3 entire weeks ago. The delivery is flawless. Every imaginary person in the room is quietly stunned. But then, a blaring car horn violently rips you back to reality. You realize you are doing 47 in the fast lane, wearing the smug expression of someone who just accepted a Lifetime Achievement Award. Here's the real contradiction. Why? Why does your mind crave building these phantom realities so intensely that it actually prioritizes them over living in the present moment? If any part of that just made you feel completely exposed, take a deep breath. This video is exactly for you. We are about to step into a heavily guarded secret room inside your mind, a place where making up fake scenarios is no longer just a habit, it is the place where you actually live. Society is so quick to dismiss this behavior. People will tell you to get your head out of the clouds. They label it as laziness, or they call it a lazy form of escapism from your actual responsibilities. But that is a profound misunderstanding of how your mind works. Because if you are someone who experiences this, you know the truth. From the inside, stepping into that imaginary world does not feel like a problem at all. It feels like relief. So what is actually happening inside your brain when you drift away? There is a specific system in your brain called the default mode network. Whenever you stop paying attention to the physical world in front of you, this network lights up. It takes over and starts generating highly detailed simulations. In the year 2002, clinical psychology professor Eli Sommer officially gave this phenomenon a name. He called it maladaptive daydreaming. He discovered that for a specific group of people, this network does not just turn on occasionally. It actually becomes the preferred setting. Your brain begins to treat its own internal simulations as far more rewarding than actual reality. And once that shift happens, the real world around you starts to feel incredibly thin, flat, and entirely lacking in substance. This is not just losing focus for a few minutes while staring out a window during a boring meeting. We are talking about people spending hours, sometimes the vast majority of their waking day, living completely inside narratives they have built entirely from scratch. These are not just fleeting, random thoughts. They are intensely detailed, heavily structured worlds. They feature recurring characters with their own distinct personalities. They involve complex emotional plots that do not just last for an afternoon, but evolve and deepen over months or even years. Why do people stay in these mental rooms for so long? Because this alternate reality provides something the physical world constantly denies them. It gives them total, absolute control. Real life is incredibly unpredictable. People let you down. Conversations get messy, hurtful, and awkward. But in your mind, you can take a painful, disorganized interaction and simply hit rewind. You can carefully craft the perfect response. You can make that other person finally look at you, truly listen to you, and finally understand your pain in a way the actual human being in your real life never quite did. It offers a flawless version of emotional resolution. It is a profound feeling of safety, a connection where you hold all the strings and absolutely nobody can unexpectedly hurt you. But eventually the profound silence of that world breaks. And this is where the darkest part of the entire experience begins. The shame spiral. Imagine you are 30 minutes deep into a vivid, highly emotional scenario. You are finally powerfully saying the exact words you never got the chance to say when you were 14 years old. You feel vindicated. You feel completely heard. But then you snap out of it. You open your eyes. You realize with a sudden, sinking feeling in your chest that the actual world kept moving forward while you were entirely gone. Time passed, and you were not truly there for it. Resurfacing from the dream carries this strange, heavy emotional aftertaste. It is a quiet, deeply isolating guilt. It feels terrible. And how does a mind that is accustomed to running away deal with feeling terrible? Before you have even consciously made the decision to do it, your brain seeks comfort. You are already halfway back inside the dream, trying to soothe the exact pain that waking up from the dream just caused. The shame feeds the intense need to escape. The escape deepens the habit, and before you know it, the loop is tightly closed. The daydream begins to aggressively take up the exact space where your actual, physical life was supposed to be happening. People often assume that someone who creates these elaborate worlds must just be highly intelligent, or maybe they are a frustrated novelist. But the research points to something entirely different. It is not about your intellect or your ability to write fiction. It is deeply connected to a specific personality trait called higher absorption. If you have this trait, you do not just listen to music. You get completely swallowed by it. You cannot just watch a heavy movie without feeling genuinely, physically wrecked by the ending. You experience every single emotion at absolute maximum volume. Because the outside world feels so relentlessly loud and emotionally overwhelming, you had to build a quiet, private room inside your own head. A safe space where you could finally process those intense feelings on your own terms. But there is an even deeper layer to this. Statistically speaking, the people who develop this pattern are often those who desperately needed an exit door that real life simply was not providing. Maybe you grew up in a household that did not feel emotionally safe. Perhaps you experienced a chronic, crushing sense of loneliness in environments where you were supposed to feel loved and welcomed. Or maybe your nervous system was simply far too sensitive for the harsh reality you happened to land in. This is the crucial part you need to understand. This intense level of daydreaming is not a disease. It is not a flaw in your character. At one point in your life, retreating into your mind was the absolute most creative and the least destructive survival strategy your brain could come up with to protect you. The daydream was never the problem. Originally, it was your brilliant solution. But a survival strategy can eventually become a trap. The true danger begins when your brain learns that its deepest emotional needs can be satisfied completely internally. Once that habit becomes strong enough, stepping out to face the friction of real life feels genuinely worse than just staying hidden inside your head. Because the physical world does not follow your script. Actual human beings are messy, chaotic, and completely unpredictable. Building genuine intimacy with another person is incredibly slow. It is terrifying, and it requires you to sit with a massive amount of uncomfortable uncertainty. Your beautifully constructed daydream never disappoints you that way. It never suddenly changes the plot, and it never forces you to be vulnerable without your permission. And so, slowly and quietly, you choose to reject reality entirely. So the goal here is not to destroy your inner world. Instead, you need to ask yourself a hard question. What exactly is that imaginary connection giving you that you are not allowing yourself to ask for in real life? The fact that you can build entire realities inside your mind, complete with profound emotional nuance and perfect coherence, is actually an extraordinary capability. It proves that you hold an enormous amount of internal richness. The tragedy is not that you imagine things so deeply. The true tragedy is that somewhere along the way, you decided your depth was only safe when it was completely invisible. If you are listening to this and feeling a quiet, heavy sense of recognition, I want you to remember one very important thing. Absolutely nothing about you needs to be fixed. You simply adapted. You adapted quietly and privately in a way nobody ever saw or gave you credit for. If this video gave you a quiet moment of understanding, please share your story in the comments below. You are absolutely not alone in this. To keep exploring the hidden rooms of human psychology, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Before you go, click the video on your screen right now for another deep dive into the mind. I will see you there.